My name is Luke Taylor. I'm 19-year-old, almost 20, so I'm going to lose that teenage title in about a month, which is both fortunate and unfortunate. So I come from West Lothian, more specifically Livingston, and I now work in Edinburgh. My industry, well, this year I was awarded the Learner of the Year Award for Environmental Conservation with Lantra. Following on from that, environmental conservation falls into a lot of different roles and lots of different jobs. As you can see here, there's lots of different routes. You can go into more of the landscapes and habitats from then public access, environmental education, recreation, and then you've got the management side of it as well. What you'll see in all of these things, no matter what way you go down the tree, they overlap, and more specifically in my job. Known as lots of different things, if you haven't already read about myself in the book already, when approached by a school kid or perhaps adults as well, we could be known as Power Rangers, park keepers, footballers or Lone Rangers. But no, yes, more specifically, in many places there's a countryside ranger. Everyone knows Yogi Bear. It's the nice thing to, I suppose, compare when talking about what we do as a service. So what is a ranger? We do lots of different things. More predominantly we filter into sustainability, so the environmental conservation industry has a huge economy. There's lots of money that goes into that from I suppose a tourism, commercial point of view, but also an industry. The reason why we do our job is because of the natural landscape, natural habitats. 50% of the world is blanketed in bogs and marsh, which is coming into more importance because of things like climate change. And then obviously people's physical and mental well-being as well. So you've not only got the natural landscape that we filter into, you've got the economical growth, but you also have people's fitness and well-being as well. Ranger services, we're all over. This map isn't exactly the most accurate, as you can see. I hardly believe that one up there is accurate, but no, certainly on likes of up in Shetland and places like that, there is ranger services. The Scottish Countryside Rangers Association, or STRA, has a feed into that and is mainly the main hub for ranger services in Scotland to get together, network and do like-minded things. Well, I mentioned a bit about what we do. This is quite a nice example, and I'll talk about that in just in a sec. But yeah, access from being a statutory thing now in Scotland with the Outdoor Access Code. We play into a lot of the legal side of it, but also just the engagement side, telling people, I suppose, sometimes we're known as the no fun police, but what they can and can't do. Public events, so the public engagement point of view, interacting with the public, being the frontline operatives and staff, but also managing the sites that people are coming to as well. And then work placements, so why we're all here today, for career influencers, getting young people involved, I suppose, in our industry. We work a lot with pupils, a lot of pupils. Another representative of now who I am working with, Historic Environmental Scotland, a lot of visitors come through all over Scotland, be that tourists or locals. My journey, past and present, so for the past 3 years I was working with West Lothian Council Ranger Service, that was through an apprenticeship, and then now I'm with Historic Environmental Scotland on a seasonal ranger position, which I'll get onto in a second as well. Qualifications, this is the main kind of line that you go up for countryside-based jobs. Your main one is starting at a National 5 NC level, going into HNC, HND. I took a different approach, I suppose. I started off with the rural skills down the bottom there, and then was planning on going on to HNC Countryside Management until I ended up with my apprenticeship. So yes, there is different routes into jobs. It's not all just college and universities. Skills Development Scotland have quite a large apprenticeship scheme, and I'm hoping to see more apprenticeships come up in environmental industries. Unfortunately just now they aren't that prominent, and because of how the industry is itself, be that from farming, ranger services, there's a lot of pressure there, and trying to get young people on board and into that, we need a framework and things like that, or apprenticeships. Skills. There's a lot of skills associated with rangering, be that being able to public speak, interact with young people, how you come across with that. For coming into the industry, volunteering is the main thing that we look for in a young person, no matter where it is and no matter what it is, from retail. Having that little bit of experience with dealing with people and just builds your skills really, and then it's the main predominant thing that will get a ranger or someone that's interested in that sort of thing a job. Progression. There isn't a huge amount of progression in rangering specifically. In environmental conservation there's quite a lot. You normally find yourself going all over the place, from being a ranger to a teacher is the most common step, and then coming back into rangering later on. But more specifically for rangering, the most common one is going from a seasonal ranger like myself in the hopes to then acquire a full-time role. But for young people, what we're interested in is that little chat there, how it all begins. So that could be via apprenticeships or via an up-and-coming, it's been around for quite a few years now, is the Junior Ranger Awards scheme, which is associated with SCRA. That ties in with the John Muir Award and the likes. So local community groups such as Beavers, Scouts and Cubs, it's an award that they can get over a certain period of time, and that is through working with ranger services. Having that little bit of knowledge and being part of a junior ranger program can then get you that kind of experience to then become hopefully a seasonal ranger in the future, and then a full-time ranger after that. Modern technologies, this was quite a difficult one because we don't really work a lot like modern technology. And the way it's kind of going in the future, it's not going to be as important as such as agriculture, but the main one is, I suppose, drone usage. We use a lot of drones for ecology, survey stuff, for species monitoring, things like that, but a lot of the time is telling them where you can't fly the drones. The National Trust of Scotland, for the likes, have a no drone policy, and that's mainly to protect people from overhead objects flying about, but also just to reflect and not have that, I suppose, that noise in natural spaces. But taking it from I suppose a practical point of view, gadgets, we do a lot of GPSing for like species monitoring, so badgers, and then from back detectors we couldn't do those things without these little things. But then we start coming into, I suppose, the future, from augmented reality to interactive interpretation, and that's how we deliver that across to other people and skills. How industry should work with educational sectors and raise awareness. It's all about getting in contact with your local, I suppose, local authorities or organisations and seeing who does outreach in those places, such as ranger services. As I've said, there's 92 ranger services in Scotland, and you'll find at least one of them will be willing to work with you in some way or shape. Why should a young people person consider choosing your industry for a future career? It's a difficult one. I think the way rangering is going, we need young people to step in at some point and take the reins, otherwise we'll lose that knowledge and that skill set. You'll find a lot of rangers just now are getting on in age, they're then going to go into retirement, and there's not the people, or certainly confident enough people, that are in seasonal positions that are going to step up and take that responsibility. So having young people to promote and get the word out there is really what I suppose we are mainly looking for. As I kind of touched upon the future for that, for me personally, I'm in a seasonal world, which means I'll be job to job until I suppose I get something secure. But that is the main enjoyment of it. The real reason why I kind of talk to young people about that is the enjoyment of working in lots of different places and the outdoors. As I said, we'll get a chance for questions later, but the obligatory plug is in there for social media, and I am going to get a selfie of all of you wonderful people for that reason. Yeah, I've only recently started utilising this, and I think it is a great way for people like myself to get out there what we do, because everyone's using it. And yeah, LinkedIn is a good way to tie in with educational sectors and things like that. But without further ado, right, thank you. If you need anything else, there's some links and people that I've talked about today on there as well.